Hey, Bloodliners, welcome to another recording of the Family Bloodline Podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Hey,
Yeah,
Let's get it.
woo!
let's
Okay.
get it.
The family bloodline. The family bloodline. The family bloodline. The family
I'm your boy
bloodline.
Fat, also known as Jig.
I'm your girl, Che.
I'm Wanda.
And I'm your boy Dirt.
And today we are going to be talking to you all about Black History Month. All right, we're in February.
Yes.
We're
Formerly
going to,
known as Black History Week.
you better say that, Black History. Yeah, for reals, right? Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're just trying to show it,
Yes.
show our support, support the culture, and move it forward and progress some things. Today, we're going to be talking about the Emancipation Proclamation, and then we're going to come with a couple of more fun facts just for everybody to go through, study, do some research, and hopefully everybody gets a little bit enlightened about what we're talking about this evening,
Mhm.
right? So
All
Absolutely.
right.
I'll jump right into it, and I'll start with the Emancipation Proclamation. So
Oh.
my aim for the Emancipation Proclamation is for people, Americans as a whole, as well as Black Americans as a culture, to begin to remove away from the romanticized version of the Emancipation Proclamation that we are generally taught in school and actually recognize and realize what this document is and what it was used for. So the Emancipation Proclamation is essentially a military document used by Abraham Lincoln. He started writing on it in September of 1860, yeah, 1862.
Two. Yeah.
Yep. And the document was actually first 1863. So
Mm-hmm.
what this document did essentially was begin to remove resources from the South so they could not continually fund their war by free labor. Remember, at this time, slave labor was a free resource, essentially, that the South had total control over. There were abolitionist
Mm-hmm.
movements in the North. However, Abraham Lincoln was not a part of the main movement of that abolitionist group. He did, however, somewhat progressively, to an extent, begin to feel morally wrong about slavery, but never actually dealt with the fact that he still practiced in slavery, the habit, the institution of slavery, right? As well as essentially did not believe in the social mixing of blacks and whites at the time. He stopped short of simply saying all men are literally created equal in that stance. He believed that men were created equal in specific stances and respects, but not to be mixed with together. Abraham Lincoln also states in his letters, some of his documents, at least several of his documents, that if he could save the Union without freeing a single slave, he absolutely would. And he absolutely meant that. Again, the Emancipation Proclamation is a military document used for military prowess to achieve a specific goal. The Civil War had actually been going on a year before the Emancipation Proclamation was even brought up, was even thought of. So the Civil War was not fought to end slavery. That is a misnomer as well,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just so we can clear that up.
Mm-hmm.
The Civil War was fought under or for economic strongholds, right? And unfortunately, the South at the time had in their grasp, again, a free resource that produced tons of money and power for them, right? And they were able to expand some of their reaches globally uh, until they began to become, it began to become an unpopular thing for them once they began, the tide of the Civil War began to change and end in 1865. So the document of the Emancipation Proclamation also did not free all slaves, right? And although it's the predecessor of the 13th Amendment, which is one of the shortest and easiest to read amendments in the United States Constitution, it very specifically handed out who and where and what could be freed, the slaves that could be freed. So if you've not read the Emancipation Proclamation, I will read a portion of the Emancipation Proclamation to you to
Mm-hmm.
identify the actual states that slavery was to end during this time. And I'm reading this information from ushistory.org, documents emancipation, right? So the states that were essentially rebellious states is what the Emancipation Proclamation, what the document actually identifies them as. Rebellious states against the North were told to free their slaves. And those states were Arkansas, Texas, Louisiana, except the parishes of St. Bernard, Plaquemine, Jefferson, St. John, St. Charles, St. James Assumption, Terrebonne, Lafourche, St. Mary, St. Martin, and Orleans, including the city of New Orleans.
Wow.
The state of
Yeah,
Mississippi.
that was one of the questions I had. That was one of my questions I wanted to ask about the Emancipation Proclamation. You know, with only 10 states being free,
Right.
you hitting on it now. With only them 10 states being free, you know what I'm saying? How were within them 10 states? How were certain column? I don't know what you. I don't even know what they
Would it
would
be
be
like a
called. You know what I'm
county?
saying?
Yeah,
Like-
counties, parishes,
Yeah.
depending on which state it's in.
Yeah. Okay. How would they be able to have them states free? You know what I'm saying? I mean, have them slaves still. What I would ask.
Okay, so let me read the states and then I'll come back to that question. Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia, except the 48 counties designated as West Virginia, and also York, Princess Anne, and Norfolk, including the cities of Norfolk and Portsmouth, and which expected parts are for the present left precisely as it is. This proclamation were not issued. So, going into your question, essentially, the way that the slaves were freed or left in slavery, depending on the counties or parishes that were just listed, is whether or not the Northern soldiers had a stronghold over those areas. So once the Northern soldiers got into an area, right, and that area no longer became identified as a rebellious area, but then slavery was continued in its normal institution, right? Because the 13th Amendment had not been ratified, similar to Missouri, again, which was the last slave state of the Union, right? So you had slavery continuing in Union states as well as in certain counties and parishes, unless Northern troops went in, invaded, and then dominated those areas. If they did that, those areas were accepted, were exempted from the Emancipation Proclamation, depending on when this happened. So hopefully that answers your question, Dirk.
No, I did, most definitely.
All right. So I'm not going to say that that's the summary of the Emancipation Proclamation, because there's a lot that's in there still
Right.
that needs to be read and digested. However, the way that it's generally taught is that the document freed the slaves. It did not free the slaves. It actually left a lot of people in slavery during this time. A lot of people, and it only ruled out the quote unquote rebellious states or areas that were directly against the North or in opposition to the North, which makes it again a military document, right, as well as a political movement. So I will wrap that up, and the hope is people go back and actually read the Emancipation Proclamation and see what it actually says and do some more research on it.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
When you say that it's a military document, so does that mean that how can I phrase this? It was only to do one job, and once that job was done, it's pretty much obsolete.
Not so much obsolete, but it was designed to meet an objective.
Right.
Right. So once that objective was met, you have what's called different decision points. Once that objective was met, another decision point was able to come into play, and the Northern Army and soldiers and troops and politicians, honestly, were able to move in a different direction, depending on the success of the Emancipation Proclamation. Now, if it was a fail, right, and Juneteenth didn't only happen in certain states, and the 13th Amendment never got ratified, right, there would have been a completely different outcome. And the South would have had more of a chance to actually secede. So it was a document that assisted the North, again, in removing a specific amount of resources from not just the battlefield, but from the war altogether. And also remember, so what this document also did is it allowed newly freed slaves in those areas to join the Union Army and earn compensation. Now,
Mhm.
shortly after that, what ended up happening is Abraham Lincoln, he also said, if you serve in the Union Army, right, you should be able to vote, which was somewhat of an unprecedented thing, because at this time we still had the rich white male that was essentially the stakeholder, which is why we also have in the Constitution that slaves were 3/5 human, so that
Mhm.
these rich white men could actually count their resources and have a bit of a bigger stake, a bigger voice in the powers that they had at the time,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that was an actual radical type of thought that Abraham Lincoln did have, is allowing slaves, because it wasn't just black men that fought in the Union Army,
Right.
right? Also black women, that participated to these ends and these strengths to progress the country forward. So his stance was, if you fought in the Union Army, and it says it in here also, then you should be able to vote,
Right.
earn compensation, earn a decent wage, and begin to live.
Right.
So then again, this moves us to the 13th Amendment, and I'm not going to really go into the 13th Amendment. Maybe we do another talk on that at another time. But for all intents and purposes, the Emancipation Proclamation began to withdraw resources from the southern states, which again helped the North push forward and win the war.
Mhm.
But the Civil War was not fought to end slavery.
Right.
That's the point. The point of the
Right. Right.
Awesome. Thanks for that information.
Thanks for the info, Fed.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
amazing.
You're welcome.
So
I was
I got some more
informed.
fun facts. I got some
Okay,
more
what you got there?
facts
What you
for
got?
y'all. Some stuff that took place on today, you know what I'm saying, in history, First off, we start out in our hometown of Missouri here in 1902. The great Langston Hughes was born here in Joplin, Missouri. He was a major part of the Harlem Renaissance. If y'all not familiar with the Harlem Renaissance, it's a great where they mix like poetry with jazz. It's a real up tempo, just great
that
stuff.
black art.
Mm-hmm.
That black art,
Yeah.
Also on this day, February 9th, 1971, Hall of Fame with Satchel Paige was inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
Nice.
if y'all ain't up on y'all Negro League baseball, he also got into the majors as well. His first contract was like for 40,000, I think, or 400,000. I need to look that back up, but
I think it was close to the 40 at that time, because that would have been a considerable amount of money.
For that time.
And also, it was said that the Negro League at that time had more talent in it than the actual
Major League.
Yeah, than the regular
league.
And a lot of our players at that time were older than normal players, but still killing it.
Right, because when he came into the majors, he was 40 years old.
Right.
Whoa.
When he got his first major deal into the majors, he was 40. So that's another fact right there. So
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Don't give up.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Right. We also have Miss Alice Walker. She was born on this day, February 9th, 1944.
Yeah.
Correct. There you go. She was the first African American woman to be nominated and win the Pulitzer Prize Awards and win the National Book Award for her horror cover book. So shout out to
Black
her.
Girl Magic.
We honor.
She won on. Correct. She wasn't only a teacher. You know what I'm saying? A social studies worker. She was also an advocate. She marched with Martin Luther King in 63, 65. Which gonna lead to my next fun fact. In 1965, Martin Luther King went to meet with President Johnson to discuss the voting rights for African Americans, which led to the big Selma, Alabama demonstration that ultimately ended in 700 arrests, including Martin Luther King. So if y'all ain't up on that, check that out as well. And fun fact, 1974, February 9th, Good Times premiered on TV.
Oh man.
There we
I
go.
don't know where we beat without them daggone good times. If my hands was working right, I'd do that little JJ.
Dynamite. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He was the first Walker that I could affiliate it with, you know what I'm saying? Without Herschel Walker, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
J.J. Walker, you know, he was a pioneer for me, you know?
Yes.
Okay.
I watch Good Times now, and like I'm like, oh my God, this show was so.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
That's really
Oh,
fun watching
yeah.
the old shows sometimes.
Yeah, and then they talk
Story
about
is
whooping
really
their
cool.
kids and everything, and you like stuff you can't even
It was
think about
it was
talking about
real
now.
reality TV,
It
correct? It was real
was.
Yeah.
That
reality.
was
Yeah,
real
It
stuff.
reflected the actual
Man,
times that it was produced in.
Can I talk about my
correct,
favorite
correct.
episode of Good Times though?
go ahead.
Go on
When
ahead.
when JJ painted Black Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is my favorite episode. Like I love that episode. But go ahead, Dirk. I'm sorry.
Oh no, there was just a fun fact from the bloodline that we had for y'all, you know. So, hey, what you got? What you got, Che?
Well, you know what? I'm here. I'm gonna celebrate the females for Black History Month,
Let's get it.
and
Why not? Why not?
yeah, just name a couple of people and talk about a little bit of how they contributed to the world and to our society. Um, Katherine Johnson, and I know you guys saw that movie Hidden Figures, right? Like,
Of course.
yeah, you know, we already know that story. But if you don't
Yeah.
know it, she worked as what they called a human computer at NASA.
Mhm.
She made calculations that successfully launched the first Americans into space. So, you know, we got
She
to
was
start
super
off with that
smart.
because that's some smarts right there. I don't know nothing
Oh,
about NASA, yeah.
that's genius. That's
Yeah,
different from
that was
smart. That's
that
And
like she
genius.
that
was
and the
smart,
movie was
smart. Yeah.
incredible. If you guys haven't watched that movie, Hidden Figures, watch it. Black History
Yeah,
Month,
that was Taraji
perfect
P.
time to
Henson's
watch it.
character.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, great.
All right.
And then we have Flo Kennedy. She was a founding member of the National Organization of Women and one of the first Black female lawyers to graduate from Columbia Law School.
Wow.
She helped found the Feminist Party back in 1971.
Which is different than the
And
feminist movement of today.
and that party later nominated Representative Shirley Chisholm for president. So,
Exactly.
you know, so since we're on Shirley Chisholm, you know, she broke major barriers when she became the first Black Congresswoman in '68. She continued on her political track when she ran for president 4 years later, making her the first major party Black candidate to run.
Yeah.
Okay. And let me tell you, if you
Yeah.
guys haven't taken time to go on YouTube and just look up Shirley Chisholm interviews, do it.
Extraordinary woman. Yeah.
Do it. There's some
Yeah.
great videos on YouTube of her talking about her experience in the Congress and how she had to kind of, you know, get back at some of these guys. You know,
Yeah. She
they're
had to
trying
be
her.
fearless.
They're trying her in the Congress. So she has some really
Right.
cool
Yeah.
stories, you know.
Kamala Harris says that she's very inspired by her. So
Oh, very inspired. Yeah, and you know, that's the thing. Like now we have Kamala Harris, you know, which there it's undeniable that, you know, Kamala wouldn't be where she is today if it wasn't for people like Shirley, you know. So
absolutely, absolutely.
we have to give our honors to these women. I mean, how scary, how brave did you have to be, you know, to run for president? Like Black woman back at that time. I mean, come on. I mean, the courage and the level of just fearlessness is just completely undeniable. I mean, we're
Let me
2021 and we probably couldn't even imagine doing it today, you
yeah.
know.
Let me throw this out here. Because not everybody's the biggest Kamala Harris fan. Not everybody was the biggest Barack Obama fan.
Right.
Mhm.
And that's fine. You know, that no issue with that whatsoever. Me personally, I don't have a political party affiliation. I'm more of a constitutionalist than anything. But there is something to be said about this, right? And it's just like when Band-Aid brand start pushing the brown and darker Band-Aids, right?
Band-Aid, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not that maybe it doesn't heal you any faster, you know, it doesn't do anything different than the other Band-Aids did, but what it does do is it gives you a perspective that this thing is healing me and it looks like me. I've got a similar skin tone. So I don't have to
Right.
agree with everybody's politics. I don't have to. People don't have to support, who's in office. They don't have to. That's their right.
Right.
But at the very least, appreciate the fact that there's someone who looks like us in these positions at this point.
Mhm.
So it's possible. It feels realer at this point than what it did before.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Message.
Yeah. I know, like
Yeah.
that just remind me of of a Cat Williams joke. He was like, "Let us have something." You look at the history book, you see
yeah.
white, 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 white.
Yeah.
I mean, just let us be happy about this.
Hey, I do got another fun fact. Since you was talking about astronauts, on this day in 1995, Bernard Harris was the first black astronaut to walk on space on this day, February 9th. No.
That's
Okay.
more fun fact. And I guess my last person to talk about is going to be Ella Baker. She was national director for the NAACP. She also
Yeah.
worked with the Southern Christian Leadership Conference and the
Yeah.
Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. And as one of the leading figures in the civil rights movement, Baker is known for her leadership style, which helped develop others' skills to become leaders in the fight for a better future. So,
Outstanding.
yes, we honor all of these African American female
Yeah, our
leaders,
elders. Give it up for
Yeah.
our
yes,
elder
and
sisters.
I
Pioneers.
know. Give
pioneers.
it up for the women who hold it
Yes.
down
Yeah,
constantly.
for the women, yes.
Yes. Let's give it up. So
Yeah,
while we're talking about Black girls that rock, Black women that rock, there's also, we all know that Rosa Parks, the mother of the, Montgomery bus boycott. Well, there were a couple women who did that before her, not taking anything away from Rosa, because
right.
all help, So, but there's this young lady. She was 15 years old. Her name was Claudette Colvin, almost like our last name.
I know.
You know,
Calvin.
she was 15 years old, and like literally 9 months before, Miss Rosa Parks decided to get up out of her seat on March 2nd, 1955. Just think about 1955. 1955.
Yes.
It really ain't so long ago.
It's not.
Yeah.
This young lady refused to get up out of her seat, and she was arrested at 15 years old, thrown in jail, and arrested.
Yeah.
And yeah, this came from a book by Philip Hoos. It's called Claudette Colvin, Twice Towards Justice. She was arrested and put in jail, and she was one of 4 women to challenge segregation in the court of law.
Mm.
Yeah, also, and like when she was asked to get off the bus, they asked why she didn't. She said she felt like her ancestors, these specific women, Sojourner Truth was on one side, Harriet Tubman was on the other side, holding her down, and she could not move. That's why
Wow.
she did not get up out that seat. That's
Wow.
what she said. So
Wow.
that's a little,
Wow.
fact about her. So if y'all can you want to just look at that book by Philip Hoos called Claudette Colvin, Twice Towards Justice.
Wow.
Amazing story.
That's amazing.
Absolutely. And
That's
we've had a lot of inventions in our
oh yeah.
in our culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. More than
Okay.
just peanuts, damn it.
Okay.
Okay.
I have
I mean,
some.
although peanut butter is great. I love peanut butter.
I'm a Reese's man.
I'm just gonna talk about a few of the inventions that have come out of the African American population in this
Let's
country.
hit that
Okay.
internet on up. Go ahead, Shay.
Yeah. These are some things that are listed from the Black Inventions Museum. And while I talk about this, just imagine,
Life without this stuff. You know
life
what I'm saying?
without these. I mean, maybe none of them are completely life changing, but just think about life just a little bit.
Yeah, they are, because you know how many accidents would be without the traffic light.
Right.
Come on, life changing. We're not
Okay.
taking
I
nothing
mean,
from none
even
of these
today,
people.
like the disposable syringe. Okay, we're in the middle of a pandemic right now. Disposable syringe,
Diabetes, is high and rampant. You need them disposable syringes.
Yep. Ironing board, lawnmower, the typewriter, radiation detector.
Yeah.
Radiation
Yeah.
detector.
Man, I use those at work all the time because we take X-rays and I have to wear a badge at my job. So
Yeah. A lot of lotions and soap. Let's see. It's
we love our
document. It's a document that's lists about 200 different items that were invented by Black inventors, and I'm gonna link this PDF in
Yeah,
the
where can we find it?
descriptions. Air conditioning unit. Could y'all imagine life without air conditioning? All
I
this
mean,
black
yeah, I kind of lived that a little bit in South St. Louis growing up.
ain't
But my
good.
thing is, like,
Refrigerator.
Black people, like our
Who
people have
invented the
single,
box fan?
Right.
like
One of the
like
dopest
our
people
people have
ever.
single-handedly saved summer because a Black man invented the doggone super soaker. So we got air conditioners and super
Big.
soakers.
Okay.
Save the summer.
We're
Let's
gonna figure
go.
out how to cool down. Okay.
Okay.
We
It's not
invented the
being hot.
refrigerator. Okay. We know how to cool down some things, it looks like.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's see.
We
The
just
telephone
single-handedly saved
system.
summer. You're welcome.
Right. Refrigerator controls.
You said the cell phone system? That's what you said.
Telephone system. So it might as well be
Oh, okay,
the cell phone
yeah.
system
Okay,
of today,
yeah.
Let's
You're
see.
welcome.
It's
Keep
just
going, Chase.
it's a helicopter,
You're welcome.
roller coaster. I mean, it's just the whole
You're
list.
welcome for your family fun.
Yeah, I just
Right.
wanted
Let's go.
to
Keep
talk
going,
about a
Chase.
few creations, a few inventions, So we have
Actually,
contributed.
I think
we
the
have
light bulb
contributed a lot.
filament was perfected by a Black man.
Yeah.
Actually,
You're welcome for your light.
the whole light bulb deal was done by a Black man, but was stolen.
Mm-hmm.
Was taken just like the invention of the car.
Yeah.
Was stolen.
It's
And heart surgery.
it's a
Just
lot
like
of
the
things that
Louisiana
was-
Purchase, that whole deal. That set up a whole bunch of slavery and all this stuff that got into, the reason why we had to do the Emancipation Proclamation and the 13th Amendment and go through the Jim Crow laws and, get where we are today for Black Lives Matter,
Yeah.
Been a whole other process, looking back in history over time, and Black people that overcame a lot, invented a lot, and still standing strong, just trying to be positive citizens in society, just trying to be equal,
Absolutely. Just trying to be a part of this United States of America, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And y'all know that we are Black every month, and we know this.
Yeah.
But this month, we are blackity black.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also, and I know a lot of people say this, but I don't want this message to be missed. And it's a bit of a message of inclusivity, right? That Black history, Black American history is American history in and of itself.
Right.
So it's not just for the culture of quote unquote Black people. Actually, I've never really seen a Black people. I've seen melanated people, but it's not just for our culture. It's for our society as a whole to understand where we came from as a people and where we're going, and not to continue to repeat a lot of the things that have happened. So celebrate it with us. There's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
Yeah, we celebrate this.
Yeah, we want everybody to know this is a very inclusive channel. We're very inclusive. We are open. We don't care what your culture is and beliefs and all those things. It's about communication, and we're inclusive.
Hell, I want to hear other perspectives.
Yeah.
I want to.
We welcome them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and even with the mantra of Black Lives Matter, no, I don't hashtag it because I'm not trying to move into the political arena of it.
Right.
But the actual verbiage of it is it's a truth. It's a fact, and it's not an arguable fact.
Mm-hmm.
That's where people seem to go wrong. Is if I say Black Lives Matter, there's an automatic retort. If you say all lives matter, I agree with that also.
Mm-hmm.
So if all lives matter, how can you deny that Black Lives Matter also? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's American history. It's American movement, American progression. And when people begin to lose sight of that, and it begins to become an us versus them,
Mhm.
That's
Right.
when we all begin to lose, and we were
We all
drawn
lose.
back,
Exactly.
yeah, into a place that we don't need to be.
Yeah.
James Baldwin said, one of my favorite authors, you know, we're all here. You know, we're already here. We're gonna either live here together, or none of us are gonna make it. Essentially paraphrasing them.
Mhm.
Mhm.
If we don't figure out how to do this together, we'll all perish.
Pretty
That's the
much.
bottom line of
Yep.
it.
Yep, and that's very true.
Yeah. Well, then with that said, you guys, thank you for watching another video from the
Yeah.
Family Bloodline
Thank
podcast.
y'all for
Ooh.
coming in.
Go
We're
check us
Black,
out.
so we can't help but talk about Black history.
I know, right?
We're inclusive, but we're Black.
I
And
love
So
y'all
maybe,
shirts,
talk about-
guys.
yeah, I dig the shirts. Maybe I'll share a picture of our great grandfather. I shared it with
Yeah.
my guest that I got
Yeah,
at my
me
house
too.
tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I still got the picture of our great grandfather and his brothers.
Yeah, we have to
Just
share
to
more
show,
about our
yeah,
personal
boss.
family
Yep.
roots, our blood family roots, because it's pretty interesting. Our family
Yeah.
story is
Very much so.
story, so we got to get on that one day.
We definitely
Thank
need to
you,
get into
everybody.
that. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all
You guys for
for
watching.
joining us. Like and subscribe. Hit us up at thefamilybloodline.com. Check out our page.
Like and
Hit
subscribe.
us up at the FBL on Facebook as well as YouTube. We got those
Instagram.
moving as well. Come check us out. Be a part of it. Let's all progress and move together in love, peace, unity, and equality.
Yes. Thank you, cousin. All right. Bye, everybody.